Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Senior lawyers, activists, opposition MPs have raised concern over the misuse of the three contentious bills which were tabled in Parliament yesterday under the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill. Now, I'll just give you a few examples of what various people have said, and then we will delve straight into the discussion. Now, say, for example, senior advocate and activist Indira Jaising has opposed this constitution amendment bill on the whole, and she says that the bill seeks to remove a prime minister, chief minister, or any other minister in jail for 30 days without conviction. And she says, and I'm going to quote, that in a country where criminal law is used for persecution, not prosecution, and as a tool for eliminating all opposition parties, the proposed constitutional amendment is also weaponizing the constitution itself. When the ED and the CBI are under direct control of the central government, federalism gets destroyed. So she's pointing out that the constitution is being weaponized, federalism gets destroyed. Law and order as a state subject is taken out of the state list and given to the center. This is what Indira Jaising has pointed out. And another very drastic observation by her on this particular bill is that you can move, and I'm quoting her again, that you can move to one party rule as the ministers of the ruling party will be the only ones left standing. All others will be behind bars. But lest they claim the moral high ground, let me say I too oppose corruption in high places. But the way to deal with it is to honestly prosecute, not disqualify from the public office. Similarly, we had interviewed Sanjay Hegde yesterday on this very channel, where he clearly said that this disqualification is temporary, and to the extent under which the person is in jail, one can resume the office after release. And then he says that a constitutional amendment can only be struck down if it violates the basic structure of the Constitution. Now, which part of the basic structure says that someone can continue being a minister while in prison? So these are all various questions which have been raised. And likewise, many activists have pointed out that they are bewildered why people reporting on the three new bills are mostly omitting the rather important fact that they need 2/3 majority in both houses to pass, which is impossible unless the opposition votes for them en masse. And similarly, DMK Rajya Sabha MPP Wilson has written on the X that 130th Constitution Amendment Bill moved by Home Minister Amit Shah is clearly part of a diabolical plan to turn India into a dictatorship. So people continue to comment on this 130th Constitution Amendment Bill. But the question we are asking is that can this bill see a clear passage? How difficult will it be for this bill to be cleared, though it has been referred to the select committee? And what is the possibility that it can be passed in the winter session? That is one thing. Will the states have to ratify for this constitutional amendment bill? That is another question. And third, that is it a diversion tactics to divert attention from the vote theft campaign, from the SIR issue? And is the Modi government really cornered from all ends, and which is why they were forced to bring in this contentious legislation? All these are questions to be pondered. And joining me this evening is former Secretary General Lok Sabha PDT Achari. Thank you so much, Mr. Achari, for joining. We have a journalist and political commentator, Vivek Deshpande. Vivek, thank you so much for joining. And I'll begin with Mr. Achari. Mr. Achari, what is your observation about this 130th Constitution Amendment Bill? Will it be easy to pass this bill in both houses? Will it need a ratification from the states? What are the technical issues involved, and do you see any roadblocks in the passage?
No, to answer your first question, I would say that it cannot be passed in the House. Because, for any constitution amendment bill to be passed by either house, a special majority is required. There are two conditions. One is you should get a majority of the total membership of the House, plus 2/3 of the members present and voting. Now in the Lok Sabha, it's a simple arithmetic. In the Lok Sabha, there are 543 members. Suppose all the 540 members come, attend the House and participate in the voting. So the bill requires around 360 or a little over 360 votes to be passed, which is not possible because the ruling alliance has only 292 seats in the House. So it is not possible. In fact, I have been saying right from the beginning that during this Lok Sabha, it is not possible at all for any constitution amendment bill to be passed without the support of the opposition. If there is a consensus, then of course there is no problem. But otherwise, if the opposition opposes any measure, any constitution amendment, it will not be passed. It will fall through in the House. That is the first question. Second is about whether ratification will be necessary. Ratification, in my view, is not necessary because it doesn't come within all those exceptions which have been listed out in the in Article 368 of the Constitution. So that may not be required. Now, the third question is, what is my opinion about this bill? I think that is your third question. Yeah, I would say three things. One is that such a bill was not necessary at all. And it was quite unexpected. And nobody was prepared for this kind of a bill. And I do not know why such a bill has been brought by the government at this time, and that too on the last day, the penultimate day. It's okay that it has been referred to that joint committee. Committee will go into this and all that. But as I told you in the beginning, that it's not going to be passed. That is the thing. Now, if it becomes a law, if it becomes a part of the Constitution, then what will happen? There are two things which I want to say. One is that this will be misused tremendously. As you said, the Constitution, this article will be weaponized. Any government at the center which doesn't like a particular state government, it can use this. Anybody can go to the ED and make a complaint.
Yes.
And we have seen how ED operates in this country. So ED can go after the chief minister because here the target is really the chief minister, not the minister of the state governments, not the central ministers. That is out of the question, and much less the prime minister. It's actually the chief ministers because they are the rulers of the states. They are controlling the states, so naturally they have to be destabilized. And this can be used for that purpose. ED will go, pick them up, put them behind the bars.
Absolutely.
For 30 days is nothing. They can be there for 90 days or 100 days. In the case of Mr. Chidambaram, he was there for 100 days.
Yes.
Kejriwal was in jail for 3 months. And then what will happen? The whole government will collapse. This can be tried against many governments which are not liked by that union government, any union government.
Absolutely.
Any union government. I'm not talking about this government or that government. Any union government,
There's another technical issue on which I wanted to ask you. Why did they bring in the prime minister? Lokpal is already there. Lokpal can investigate matters. But even then, they have included the prime minister, that, even the prime minister can be removed. Why do you think they did that? Why did they have to include the prime minister? Is it just for moral grandstanding that, look, our prime minister also will not be spared, and this is the kind of government we have, and this is the kind of legislation we bring in?
I think you are right. That may be the reason to bring about some kind of equity. Prime Minister is also there. Just like in Lokpal, Prime Minister is also there. So nobody can find fault with this piece of legislation. UK Prime Minister has not been spared. That kind of thing. Otherwise, everybody knows in this country, even a child knows that the Prime Minister cannot be arrested, will not be arrested, but nobody will do that. So, as I said, the target is the Chief Minister. That is it. They will be targeted. The second thing and the final thing is that, in our country, the legislature has a policy of dealing with people who are holding public offices like ministers and MPs, MLAs, and all that a little cautiously. The lawmakers know that they are vulnerable to vendetta politics,
Yes.
and therefore the lawmakers have made sure that people will lose their position. For example, MPs and MLAs, they will lose their position only if they are convicted,
Yes.
not on the basis of a case that has been filed and incarceration, or detention in the jail. That
No,
is not
but
the ground on which a person will lose his
Sorry,
position.
you were talking about the conviction rate. Now, out of 193 cases registered by the ED against the political rivals of the BJP, there's a figure here that only 2 have ended in conviction, proving that
Yes,
191 cases are false and foisted for the political reasons. So, I mean, the
that tells
classic
its own.
example is Satyendra Jain of Aam Aadmi Party. After much ado, the CBI itself had to file a closure report in a case against him after arresting him and unleashing the ED. Yes, Mr.
Well,
Acharya.
this is happening. This is happening in many cases. You are absolutely right. So the point is, what is the policy of the legislature in this matter? The law will step in only if they are convicted. That is, if you look at Section 8, I think, of the RP Act 1951, a person shall be disqualified only after conviction, not when he has been charge sheeted or anything. That is the
Absolutely.
position. So that principle applies to the ministers also. That should apply to the ministers also. That is the
Absolutely.
point.
Right.
That is, because any
Okay.
kind of people can be framed easily
Right.
in this country. That is my
Absolutely.
point. That is why.
Right. So, Vivek, coming to you now, what do you think is the intention of the government behind bringing in this kind of a contentious legislation at a time when the entire country is seeking answers on special intensive revision in Bihar? The entire country is seeking clarity on the vote theft. Uh, and all of a sudden, and as what Mr. Achari rightly pointed out, that this was unexpected. People had not expected this, and they all of a sudden brought in this kind of a legislation at the fag end of the monsoon session. Why do you think that the government did this? Was it just a diversionary tactics, or do you really see some kind of a sinister and a diabolical design on the government's end?
Yeah, Nilu, both. I think it's diversionary tactic as well as it's a sinister design. Uh, as Mr. Acharya rightly pointed out, nobody was expecting, nobody had anticipated, I would say, that the government would bring in something like this. And this has happened many times with this government. Certainly, it brings in something which nobody had actually forecasted, or nobody had predicted, or nobody had anticipated. We this government functions behind iron curtain, and we don't really get to know what exactly is going on in the mind of the government. We never had any inkling of what was happening between Mr. Dhankar and the ruling party. There was no idea to anyone. I mean, we have political reporters, very prominent political reporters, but nobody had reported that there was something wrong between Dhankar and BJP, and it would eventually lead to Mr. Dhankar actually tendering his resignation. And it came out all of a sudden. So, there are some things which are going on behind the curtain which nobody gets to know. And what exactly is that thing that we will not be able to understand, and we will have to wait for that. So, I think there was this suddenness in this decision which has baffled everyone. And then at the end of the monsoon session, see, basically the method of bringing in such a legislation, such an important legislation, which intends to amend the constitution, is to bring it at least a month before, give all the copies of the draft to all the members of the parliament, and give them time to think about it, and then when it comes up in the parliament for discussion, then everybody has a view on it. So they certainly brought it, and then they wanted the Lok Sabha Sabhapati to actually hasten it up. So there was clearly something which they were hiding from not only the parliament but from the entire country. So as far as this sudden move is concerned, I think it has more to do than what meets the eye. I think there's something which we will take some time to figure out. Uh, no, but as far as the legality of this concern, Mr. Achari has clearly pointed out, they will not be able to implement it, at least as far as Prime Minister is concerned. Now, who is going to make a complaint against the Prime Minister? And it's very ridiculous that the Prime Minister, if he is detained for just 28 days, then he will remain a Prime Minister for 28 days. And if that detention ends on 29 days, then he continues to be the Prime Minister. And for 30 days, if the Prime Minister is detained, hmm, who is taking the guarantee that the agencies which are actually government agencies will go against him? So the point is, this all is, as you rightly pointed out, um, uh, an attempt to take moral high ground, that we can even involve the prime minister in this. So basically, they are not going to do that. Everybody knows, because we have seen over the last many years how several corrupt people from opposition have been incorporated into BJP's scheme of things. They have been made ministers, they have been made chief ministers, they have been made deputy chief ministers. A very prominent example is that of Maharashtra's current deputy chief minister, Ajit Pawar. Just 5 days before he was made the deputy chief minister, the prime minister had made an accusation against him in a public rally, saying that he was the kingpin of the 7,000 crore irrigation scandal in Maharashtra. So the intention of this government is very doubtful, and I think it is basically intended to divert the attention of the people from the current issue of alleged electoral malpractices, where the opposition is targeting the election commission to be handing low with the present government. And there is this big, huge public rally being undertaken by opposition leader Rahul Gandhi in Bihar, and this whole campaign against so-called vote chori is now gaining a lot of currency among the common people, and that has this government worried. And I think to divert the attention of the public from this issue, they wanted to bring in something very, very dramatic, more dramatic than what's happening around. So I think that was also one of the intentions of bringing this. Of course, targeting the opposition chief ministers would be the prime motive, but then it is subject to the condition that this actually gets passed in both the houses. And as Mr. Acharya has rightly pointed out, it's a very tall order. So currently, I think the basic intention is to divert the attention, and they will see what to do with it when it comes to actually having it passed in parliament. So they have very cleverly uh, diverted the attention from the vote chori issue, which the opposition is now has galvanized the public into, and they have succeeded to a great extent in that. Nilu.
Vivek, I
I have
also
to.
wanted to find out. Yeah, Vivek, I'm coming to you for the second question. That what is going to be the impact on the NDA allies when it comes to people like Chandrababu Naidu, when it comes to Nitish Kumar? How will they respond? And there are strong murmurs within the party, though people may not talk about it on the record. But there is a feeling that BJP might use this legislation against its own CMs who emerge as challengers. They may use it against the allies. We can't forget that Chandrababu Naidu was in jail before he became the CM.
Well, these are
Is this
things which.
question?
I know, I'll take a quick reaction from Vivek and then come to you, Mr. Achari. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Vivek.
No, I have no. Now I have no time. I have to rush now.
Acha, you okay? Acha, you have to leave for some other show. Okay,
Yes.
okay, sir.
You
Okay,
can answer
thank you.
that.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay, Vivek. So, I mean, what is the kind of impact you see on the allies, on BJP's own CMs who pose as challengers?
I don't think they will go against their own CM. Now, they will go against only that CM who could be their competitor. And currently, I think Adityanath seems to be the only person who is actually a competitor, so to speak. But then, of course, that's a far cry. I mean, they will not go against him, and I don't think they will devise a law to actually target Adityanath. I mean, uh, they can dislodge him with some other means. I mean, it's not the intention of this law to to target their own people. Of course, they can target the opposition CMs, but because they are dependent on their majority and they're staying in power on Mr. Chandrababu Naidu of TDP and Nitish Kumar of JDU, I think they will not target them. Uh, and as far as other CMs are concerned, it's not going to be of any use at the current moment if they target them. I think this is basically there's something going on. There's something going on behind the curtains which we don't know, as I previously said. Maybe some back channel talks going on between Chandrababu Naidu, Nitish Kumar, and the opposition leaders, as we have said. There are some channels of communication open between Chandrababu Naidu and Rahul Gandhi. Is the government kind of anticipating that there's something, some kind of a danger to its existence? Because 2029 is a long way away. They still have
No, but
about four
when you
years,
say,
three.
Vivek, but when you say that, there is something happening behind the curtains, do you also see indications of the NDA government at the center crackling up, or the possibility of the government falling? Do you see that? Or do you see this legislation being brought in as just an indication of some kind of a nervousness on the part of the BJP government, because they are thinking that too many things are happening, too many fronts have opened, so the best way is to intimidate and put pressure on the opposition parties?
Yeah, but then what are they going to achieve by it? I don't think they are going to immediately target any opposition members or CMs, and that's not going to yield anything for them. Uh, I think they just want to die. The basic intention, I feel, is to divert the attention, and maybe if they have to target anyone, then it has to be someone who can make or break this government. That is the and who is currently. Who are the two people, who are the two most prominent politicians who can actually make or break this government? They are Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar. And is there anything between them and the opposition that has this government worried? That's the question. You must have seen Mr. Pawan Khera, the Congress spokesperson, who had put out a video uh, as a reaction to what the chief election commissioner said in that press conference on the 15th of on Sunday, I believe. So Pawan Khera said something very interesting in that video. He said, you know, you will have to face the consequences of what you are doing, Mr. Chief Election Commissioner, because this government is not going to last for long, and that means he is pointing out to something uh, like this government actually falling before it completes its terms. So is there something which is in the offing which we are not yet privy to, we don't know anything about? Is there have some back channel discussions been going on between Chandrababu Naidu and opposition and Nitish Kumar and opposition? Are they going to pull the rug from under this government's feet? That's the question. And is the intention behind bringing this particular legislation, and when they know that this is not going to be passed, as Mr. Acharya has rightly pointed out, when this is not going to be passed so easily, they they can't. I mean, this legislation can't be of any use in immediate future. So, what's the intention? I mean, that is
Do
something
you
which is
do
baffling
you
everyone. Yes.
do you see the final outcome of this legislation on the similar lines like what we see, or as far as the one nation one election is concerned, or maybe the women's reservation? It's gone into an infinity. Nobody knows by when they will implement, what will they do, but they've just brought in, just to create a narrative.
Yeah, that is the style of this government. I mean, yeah, over the last 12 years, can you remember one legislation, path-breaking legislation, which this government has brought in, which has actually changed the future of the country in any significant way? Nothing. I mean, they actually make a lot of song and dance about such legislations, and they actually end up doing nothing. So that is exactly what is going to happen with this legislation as well, because it's very, very difficult to pass this legislation. I think Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar will also oppose it, uh, because They know the BJP has been a party which has gone against its own allies everywhere in the country, and they could also be targeted at one
Right.
some point of time in future. So they will be the first to oppose it, because they will be the first to be targeted by it. That will be their perception, definitely, Neeru.
All right, all right. So we'll have to wait and watch how things unfold as far as this constitutional amendment bill is concerned. But I'm sure this bill is going to be bandied together with the vote theft campaign. And this has again given a big opportunity to the opposition leaders to take this issue vociferously to the people. Thank you so much, Vivek, for joining on the Federal. Thank you.
Thank you.